The Norwood City School District Board of Education regular meeting. Today is Thursday, March 16th. Norwood City School District Board of Education follows a bi-monthly meeting schedule. The first meeting of the month is called our committee meeting. At this meeting, we fully discuss our agenda for the board meeting to be held the third Thursday of each month. As board members, we encourage you to attend, watch, and listen to our committee discussion resulting in action at the board meetings. For full disclosure, our committee meetings and board meetings are always announced, video and audio taped, as well as posted to our webpage for your view. All of our meetings are public and visitors are welcome. Mrs. Camphouse, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Atwood?
Present.
Ms. Ballard? Present. Mrs. Rarica?
Present.
Mr. Taylor?
Present.
Mrs. Cole?
Present. All right, if you would please stand, face the flag, and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, item 1.04, this is the adoption of the agenda. I would like to motion that we modify the agenda to add to the education report. I would like to add to 4.02 to send Ms. Ballard to a conference at the end of April. This is the BLI Institute, the Board Leadership Institute. So could I get a motion to modify the agenda, please?
All motion?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
So that's sort of there. You're adding,
So there's something, I think, different that doesn't fit
Oh,
with
just another thing to add
4.02.
on.
Yes. So I think
Awesome.
this is different, so Julie wanted to
Right.
call that out separately.
So I thought that 4.02 was going to encompass a full request of potentially changing that policy. It doesn't quite do that. What I would like as a possibility for the board's consideration is to adjust a previously amended policy, since we already have the funds established for training for board members, that annual typically attended conferences or workshops that we go to, like our fall conference or the board conference in Columbus, things like that.
The leadership stuff.
Things that we've already set aside funds for can be approved by Julie, since they fall well within her purview as treasurer to pay for out of those funds. However, if it's a new, like let's say we want to attend a national conference or a one-off event that we've never attended before, that would still require board approval and discussion. But things we go to regularly would just say, hey, I'm interested, Julie, I would like that to come out of my training budget, which is already set aside. So that way we don't have to keep bringing up things that we already attend.
Other thoughts?
I disagree with that. I think if we're going to spend the public's money, we should at least publicly vote to approve that. It's not that we ever deny it, and it's just something that we just recognize. So I disagree.
Unfortunately, because of the timing on it, last week was the OSBA Southwest Conference meeting, which I am an officer for, and I missed the window to be able to do that because of when our meeting fell. I didn't get approval, so I wasn't on the list for our own Southwest board meeting, which I am a member. So I ended up having to crash the party because I was due to set up that event. So I went, I didn't eat dinner, but I went and I helped set up, and I kind of stood in the back and observed the Southwest meeting. But as an officer, I was supposed to attend, and because of that deadline conflict, it was an issue. And it was just a $40 dinner that I go to regularly, and I'm expected to attend as an officer, which is why it was added to tonight's discussionary thing. And I figured it would be easier to include items that we already attend. Like you said, we don't deny them anyway, but if it was a new and first-time event or a national conference or something bigger, then yes, I would like full disclosure at the board meetings. But our regular annual conferences and regular, fall and spring meetings, pre-approve them, or maybe we agree to approve them annually.
I see what you're saying with that. However, our business is conducted where we have regular meetings for this. So there's a schedule for this. So if this is something that wants to be attended by any board member, just understanding the timing of when things need to be turned in and approved. And just respect that time frame, and there's going to be no issues with that. I understand that, this fell outside of that window, but it's just the normal part of our business and our process.
We used to not require that, though. Julie was able to approve, the smaller end trainings and things without, additional board discussion because the funds had already been set specifically for board training.
I agree with Amber. I want to add that it's inefficient that we have to plan so far ahead and ask. I see things all the time. I'm like, oh man, I could go to that training. Oh, but I can't, because then I'd have to ask, and we don't have a meeting between then and now, and da-da-da. And then I can't go.
So,
Well, I'm sorry that our business inconveniences you, so.
That's not what we are saying
That's not
at
what
all.
we're saying. We're saying
We're
that we
saying-
can do it differently.
And we would like the opportunity to take advantage of educational resources offered to board members that are statewide, given the funds and the access to the training that we have already established for the board members. Publicly, we have stated how much money is clearly set aside for training. And if we have to turn it down because there might be, oh, hey, there's a last-minute Zoom meeting, at $30 registration, you can participate in this workshop, but we have to turn it down.
So I just want to stop for just a second. So the motion on the table was to modify the agenda. We're kind of getting into the discussion here that needs to happen in section 4.
Right.
We have some people here that are very excited about seeing their kids receive awards.
Yes.
So I would like that we vote on the motion on the table, which is to amend the agenda, and we can continue this discussion when we get to section 4. Are we okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we
we
could amend
have
it
a
there.
motion, we have a second on, and again, we're motioning to amend the agenda. We're not saying yes or no to anything, except we will discuss this in a few minutes.
Okay.
So, all right, Mrs. Camphouse.
Mr. Atwood?
Yes.
Ms. Ballard?
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes. Okay, so moving along, we have just a little bit of more business to conduct here before we get to the good stuff, I promise. So we need to go ahead and approve our minutes. So 1.05, these are the minutes from the regular meeting on February 23rd. 1.06 are the minutes from the Finance Committee meeting March 7th. 1.07 minutes from the committee meeting on March 7th. Do I have a motion to approve items 1.05 through 1.07?
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Mrs. Camphouse?
Mr. Atwood?
Yes.
Ms. Ballard?
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes. All right, with that approved, we are moving on to item 2. These are the presentations. So we are going to start with item 2.01. I think we have some wrestlers here. I know we have Coach Alsop with us as well. So Coach, I'm going to turn it over to you, and the floor is yours.
All right, plus, I think we should invite all these young men to come down and stand up here and be recognized. Yep. Would you like to read this?
Does he need a microphone?
Or do you want me to read it?
Brandon.
I can read it. I'll read it. We do have a great picture of the wrestling team, but it's nice to see all you gentlemen in person. All right, the Norwood wrestling team has been on an impressive run this season. They have hovered near the top of the overall team standings for every tournament that they've attended this season, and that success translated to the postseason. On February 17th, they earned their 5th Miami Valley Conference championship in a row. Coach Derek Alsop was the recipient of Co-Coach of the Year honors, and Wyatt Hinton was named Miami Valley Conference Co-Wrestler of the Year. The team placed 3rd of 21 at OHSAA Division III sectional tournament, with 7 wrestlers qualifying for the Division III Southwest District tournament. At the Southwest District Tournament, Wyatt Hinton won the 132-pound weight class, earning him a berth in the 2023 OHSAA State Wrestling Tournament. Senior Jeremy Cox qualified for the state tournament as an alternate, placing 5th in this division. The wrestling team prides itself on discipline, and it shows every time they step onto the mat, and I think it shows everyone here tonight. So let's have a big round of applause for the Norwood wrestling team. Thank you all for being, move in, we've got to get pictures.
Should we?
It's up to you. Okay.
We're gonna stand behind them.
Ms. Havlin, we're going to do our thing that we usually, if you don't mind.
Okay, are we ready? 1, 2, 3. Another. Congratulations.
Make sure my outfit's on right first, and then they're passing with these guys. Like, we have to make sure my outfit's right, 'cause I gotta stand there.
Fall. It's okay.
Maybe we should have done the Rising Stars first, so we could have had them.
Had an audience.
Then we would have had. All right, so we will move on to item 2.02. This is our Rising Stars section, so I will turn this over to Mrs. Cheslin and Mrs. Havlin.
Thank you so much, Madam President. Okay, we are thrilled to announce and honor our Rising Stars this evening. So when I call your name, I'm going to ask that you come forward down here, and then Mrs. Rarica is going to give you a nice certificate, and we're going to say great things about you, and everyone's going to clap and cheer and take lots of pictures. So tonight we're going to start with Sharpsburg Elementary and Primary School's Rising Star student for March is Alex Manuel Evaristo Gutierrez. Is Alex with us this evening? Okay, I'm going to go ahead, we'll save him for last, and then if he comes a little bit later, we'll return to him. We'll move on to our next Rising Star student.
Our rising star for Norwood View Elementary is Elise Brown. Come on down, Elise. We are proud to announce that our kindergarten star student is Elise Brown. Elise is a student in Miss Stanford's room. She always comes to school ready to learn with a smile on her face. She is a PAX leader and a good citizen. She loves to help her classmates. Elise loves to play with her stuffies. Her favorite animals are reptiles. Elise is an artist and would like to be a tattoo artist when she grows up. We are proud to have Elise as our star student. Congratulations.
Yeah, Elise, stay right here with us. We're going to announce some other of your students. Williams Avenue Rising Star student for March is Jack Fleck. Jack Fleck is Williams Avenue Rising Star. Jack is an outgoing, caring, and thoughtful kindergartner. He comes to school every day on time, prepared, and motivated to do his best and try his hardest. Jack is an exceptional student who takes pride in all of his work. He is equipped with a positive attitude that is infectious to all those around him. He participates frequently by asking questions, contributing ideas and opinions, to discussions and encouraging others to do the same. He thinks of his peers' needs and feelings at all times. He models what it means to be and look like a PAX leader. We have full confidence that Jack will shine like a star long after kindergarten with his positive attitude. Because, as Dr. Seuss says, you have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself in any direction you choose. We are so proud of you, Jack. Congratulations.
Our rising star for the Montessori School is Maddie Seaver, but unfortunately her family could not be here today. So we are going to honor Maddie at our Rising Star board meeting in April. So we're gonna hold off with all the good things about Maddie, and we're gonna talk all about her in April. But Maddie Seaver is our Rising Star for April.
So next up, we have Norwood Middle School Rising Star student for the month is Alana Williams. Over the course of this school year, Alana Williams has shown herself to be an exemplary student and a person of character. Her work ethic, kindness, and willingness to take on a challenge has earned the admiration of her peers and teachers. In addition to earning excellent grades in first and second quarter, she also decided to take on a new challenge when she joined the orchestra. Her academic talents combined with her intense motivational drive ensure Alana will continue to find success both now and in the future. Congratulations, Alana. You are a shining example of what it means to be a rising star.
Norwood High School's Rising Star student for March is Lainey Murphy. Norwood High School would like to recognize sophomore Lainey Murphy as this month's Rising Star. Lainey is an outstanding student. Her commitment to her education sets her apart from her peers. She is honest, trustworthy, and hardworking. Lainey puts as much effort into her athletic endeavors as she does her musical and academic pursuits. She is currently enrolled in honors level classes as well as an advanced placement course. She's a three-sport athlete participating in soccer, basketball, and softball. She also plays the viola in the Norwood High School Orchestra. She dreams of pursuing a career in physical therapy or athletic training after graduating from high school. She is friendly, kind, and conscientious of others' feelings. Lainey Murphy is a shining example of Norwood pride. Congratulations, Lainey.
The district staff rising star for March is Olivia Ma. Olivia has been a wonderful addition to the Norwood Montessori School. She is organized, dependable, and successful at managing priorities with a positive attitude. Olivia has outstanding written and verbal communication skills. She has a strong work ethic and is adaptable. Each day, Olivia brings energy, enthusiasm, and an ability to make connections with our students, our families, and our staff. Her bright smile and can-do mindset make the culture of our school one that is both welcoming and inviting. Olivia Mogg is one of the reasons why Norwood City Schools is so great. Congratulations. We're going to try one more time. Is Sharpsburg Elementary School and Primary School's Rising Star student Alex Manuel Evaristo Gutierrez here yet? Okay, if not, we're going to go ahead and say great things about Alex, and then we're going to celebrate him in his school building. Alex is a rising star in 5th grade. Let me go back to his picture real quick. He's a rising star in 5th grade this month. He is a PAX leader showing model behavior in the classroom and during unstructured times. He makes sure his assignments are completed and asks for help if needed. When he is not working hard in class, Alec can be found playing gaga ball at recess. He moved into our school and made friends easily with his outgoing personality. He is an incredibly hard worker and is growing more confident by the day. Alex would like to be a scientist or a soccer player when he grows up, and with how hard he works every day, the sky's the limit. We are so happy he is with us at Sharpsburg. Congratulations. At this time, the board members want to come all around and shake everyone's hand and grab a great picture with all of you.
Well, and I think her dress goes really well with her next career.
I totally agree. Yeah.
And then we're gonna scoot just this way, just a bit. And the board members are gonna stand behind you.
Okay, keep coming over just a little bit more.
One more step.
One more step.
This way. Perfect.
Good, good. Perfect. Okay, we ready? 1, 2, 3. And move it again. Thank you.
If all of the Rising Star students and their families will go out into the lobby and follow Miss Hadlin, the pretty lady in the red sweater. She's gonna take some more family photos. Thank you, everyone.
Always looks so empty after that. All
Come
right.
back. The meeting's really fun.
So we are moving on to item 3. So this is personnel, and I will turn the floor over to Superintendent Ronan.
All right, thank you so much, Madam President. Under number 3.01 is resignation, and we do want to, we feel sorry saying goodbye to Carrie Wade and Glenna Edwards, longtime employees of the district, and we will be recognizing Glenna a little bit later in the agenda. So under 3.02, number 1, we have administrative contracts for 2 of our administrators who are, their normal 3-year cycle is up. Number 2, we'd like to welcome 2 new employees for the next school year, Matthew Money and Ann Victoria Wilson, who will be working at the elementary level. Number 3, some supplementals for our spring play. Number 4, we're approving a child care leave for one of our staff members. And 5 is a change in status. Mrs. Crew is moving from Bobby Fairfax to Norwood High School, but still staying with us. Number 6, these are our pupil service activities for spring sports. And also for Avenues for Success, we're adding a few additional clubs. And then on number 7, that is a correction to the February meeting. And actually, that concludes my personnel report. Thank you.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve 3.01 and 3.02?
I'll motion to approve 3.01 and 3.02.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I would like to vote no on Glenna's resignation, but I won't.
Any other discussion? Mrs. Camphouse?
Mr. Atwood?
Yes.
Ms. Ballard?
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes. All right, item 4 on the agenda, this is the Education Committee report, and I will turn the floor over to Mrs. Rarica.
Well, thank you, Miss President. We've got some field trips, and we have Norwood Middle School and Norwood High School softball team going to the University of Kentucky, Sharpsburg 5th grade going to Green Acres, show choir competition, Norwood Middle School and Norwood High School going to Fairfield High School, and Norwood High School going to Sharpsburg? Okay. And Norwood High School going to Butler County Fairgrounds. Norwood View going to Paycor Stadium. And then, okay, we're not going to vote on both of these at the same time, or are we?
I think it looks that way on the agenda,
Okay,
yes.
we'll just put the field trips in with this one. So 4.02 is the OSB Southwest Spring and Fall Conference attendances, and we have added
BLI.
BLI. Or what did we add, Julie?
Board
Yeah.
Leadership Institute, yes, in
Oh,
April.
yes.
Yeah.
For everyone?
Anyone that would like to attend, I assume.
Awesome. So I would like to motion that we approve both of these, 401 and 402.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I think it would be a completely different issue. So at this time, I think we just leave it as the fall conference because the spring conference happened last week and BLI. And then we can bring up another issue maybe at one of the committee meetings or something for further discussion. It's a separate thing.
So I'm okay with leaving this as it is because we're approving the conferences and the Board Leadership Institute. I'm fine with that. I think the hangup that we're having, the bigger discussion on is the change to the policy moving forward, which I think is a completely separate discussion. So I'm okay with the change and with what we're voting on. I'm fine with that.
And this was an attempt to make it a little easier because I do understand the time demands. But we do want to follow board policy also. So when we approve this, it was to approve all spring and fall conferences, just
Okay.
so that it was.
Oh, for all of them
Because those are
going forward.
routine for
Yeah.
anybody
I thought
that
it was
wants
just
to go
this
to.
year.
No.
It's like,
Oh,
So-
awesome. Maybe each, like, January and summer, we could approve all for the rest of that half year.
This would be.
It's approved.
This would be a perfect thing to put on the organizational meeting for board training, just the routine ones. And that might make it easier and we still follow board policy and we don't have as many time
I think that's what
demands.
I
Amber
did
and I were
mention that,
saying.
the,
Just
maybe once a
make
year,
it
say, we
happen
approve the
instead of
annual
asking.
things, which is what I was hoping for in the beginning, is we approve the annual events so that if we do come up on a deadline, we can give it to Julie and,
It's already been approved.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're following board policy.
Okay.
So I can make a note in my calendar to look at that in January.
Then for next month, we should probably go ahead and include our regular annual conference that we do every year that's not OSBA, because we do our regular conference. The spring and fall conferences that I'm talking about, those are the state and region conferences. So this would be like our annual one that we go to where we have the delegates meeting, all that.
That is OSBA.
That's
The ones that I mentioned that this was supposed to encompass were the ones that I was talking about that I went to last week that I had to crash, was my OSBA fall and spring conference. Their one evening dinners and luncheons. Those meetings was what I thought that was.
That's what's on the agenda for now.
Just
As it
those.
stands right now, the
Okay.
capital conference is still something that we'll discuss in November and approve in October or November.
Yeah, attendance is in November, so yeah, we'd have to do it before then?
Yep.
Okay.
And that's something that's easy to remember because I have to take a poll of who's going anyway because I need to
Right.
do the lottery and I need to get everybody registered, so it's not one that we tend to miss.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So if we approve this, are we approving that any of us could go to BLI in April? That's included?
Right now, it says Amber and Alice for the spring and fall conference, OSBA conference, and the BLI.
Well, those are open to anyone.
Yeah.
I'm an officer, I'm expected to attend, but anyone can come attend those conferences because they're award ceremonies, it's a dinner, it's open to anyone who would like to register and come. The same with BLI, it's a board leadership, so anybody from the board should be allowed to attend if they'd like. It's at the end of April, if anyone is interested, up in Polaris.
Last year, was
We-
it May? And
We did it last year, yes.
It was so good.
It's a short one in Polaris, but I highly recommend it. It's some really good networking opportunities, some really good workshops. And it's a lot smaller than the big conference that
Yeah,
we go
much,
to.
much smaller.
You get a lot more out of it, I think, and more opportunities to ask questions at different levels. So I would encourage anyone, not just us, but any one of you, please come.
It was very beneficial.
So are we all clear on what we're voting on now?
Yeah.
All right, any further discussion? All right, Mrs. Camp House?
Mr. Atwood?
Yes.
Ms. Ballard?
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes. All right, with that approved, we will move on to number 5. This is our policy committee report, and I will turn over to Vice President Taylor.
Thank you, Madam President. We have one updated policy this evening for the first reading. It is BDDA, notification of meetings. This is an update to the policy where we have to have a reasonable method that a person would be able to determine the time and place of all regularly scheduled meeting and the time, place, and purpose of all special meetings. Our changes offer a specific and consistent manner in which all people would be able to determine the time, place, and reason for the meeting. We have chosen to specifically name our website as that location. I would like to make a motion to approve BDDA's first reading.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All right, Mrs. Camp House?
Mr. Atwood?
Yes.
Ms. Ballard?
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes. All right, moving on to number 6. This is our Building and Grounds Committee report, and I will turn it over to Ms. Ballard.
Thank you, Madam President. We have 4 requests for usage. The first one is bigger than sneakers. They are requesting the use of the Norwood Middle School gym Saturday, March 11th. So this is a past event that we're approving. Xavier University track team practice at Shea Stadium. They would like to use it twice a week from March to early May in the morning. Number 3 is the Little Indians football and cheer for their special needs Easter hunt at Shea Stadium on April 2nd from 10 to 2. And Norwood Little Indians football and cheer games at Shea Stadium September 9th and 23rd, October 14th and 21st from 8 to 11. I'd like to make a motion that we accept all 4 requests as written.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All right, Mrs. Camp House?
Mr. Atwood?
Yes.
Ms. Ballard?
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes. All right, moving on in the agenda, we are at number 7. This is the Finance Committee report, and I will turn it over to our treasurer, Mrs. Camp House.
Thank you, Madam President. We are still watching House Bill 1, the new bill still in the House that will reduce state funding to public schools for tax allocations like rollback and homestead. Now that we know that House Bill 920 will be effective for House Bill 1 changes, we can see even more pointed estimates on the effects of school to public school funding. At Norwood, we would receive $2,452,000 less in state and local revenues over the next 4 years if House Bill 1 passes. Our Norwood residents would pay $1,539,000 more over that same time period, and the state will save $3,992,000 in funding costs to Norwood City Schools. For the state of a whole, when considering House Bill 1, residential taxpayers will pay $929 million more in real estate tax annually. Businesses will pay $157 million less in real estate tax annually. And schools overall will see $538 million less revenues annually if House Bill 1 passes as introduced.
Doesn't that go up for a vote like next week?
I think it's still in the House.
It is still?
Yeah.
Okay. I heard it was soon,
Yeah.
so.
I'm hearing so many complaints about it that I'm actually not hearing much about where it is, which would be helpful to know.
That's what they told us last week,
Yeah.
was that it's going up like next,
For
or
the House
before
to
the end
vote.
of the month. It's expected to go to vote by the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right,
Um,
and did you say that it's gonna cost taxpayers $538 million extra if this thing passes? Citizens, go contact your state representatives.
Citizens.
You don't wanna pay that.
That's right.
And if you do, you'd want it going to your public schools where your kids are going, that it benefits you. They're gonna, yeah, no.
It's a typical swap. It's a swap like we're seeing all the time where residents are paying more and commercial taxpayers are paying less.
Well, I know one of the things, like they gave us one of these at our last legislation meeting, but it was a summary of everything. And the thing I found interesting was the homestead rollback. especially for older generations, they are part of a taxation benefit called the Homestead Act, and it gives them a cut for property taxes. And it would add an increase to those homeowners. So they'd be seeing an annual increase as well. And so a lot of those folks are on a budget, a very tight one, and it would affect them probably more drastically than some homeowners, because that's the only income they have, and it's now gonna be higher.
So they're gonna tax senior citizens on fixed incomes more and commercial property owners earning a profit less.
Yeah.
This burns my britches.
Yes, that is true. For the Quality and Economic Development proposal, an updated school compensation agreement has been sent to the developer and the city, but we have not heard back on the changes. The tight timeline, however, has been satisfied, though, as we responded to the original request in February, and we have not received another request, causing the timeline to reset. We have time, therefore, to continue to negotiate this compensation agreement. On the agenda, the CFO report, financials, and change orders are attached for your approval. 7.02, appropriation resolution, our current budget. 7.03, transfers, cash transfers. The first one is to fund the severance account, and the second one is to move the playoff fund profits to the athletic account. 7.04, Hamilton County Developmental Disabilities Contract to provide IEP services for students that qualify for the 23-24 school year. 7.05, security update quotes. This quote for $91,110.50 is to purchase the equipment needed to further tighten exterior door security. As you may remember, we received a quote for over $600,000 to do this work, labor, and parts. Because of the excessive cost, the district will be operating as its own general contractor to install these updates after the parts quoted in this resolution are purchased. We can thank our technology and maintenance teams for their expertise in handling this project, and especially to thank Randall Grant staff. 7.06, the beautification project. This project will update elementary school buildings landscaping, update playgrounds, as well as re-roof Williams and View buildings and provide new boilers at the high school. The board will be approving the advertisement for bids, which will run in the Inquirer starting on Monday. Our bid opening is scheduled for April 14th. 7.07, new account, middle school baseball, to create a new fundraising account for middle school baseball team. 7.08, North Norwood lease. Hamilton County ESC has requested one more year to lease North Norwood. 7.09, independent contractor agreement. This contract will provide bridge services for Glenna Edwards to help moderate her Ready School program and the other services that she provides to the district while we search for her replacement or replacements.
Let's say replacement, I don't think is enough. We're gonna.
We may need more than one. 7.10, marching band uniform purchase. We accepted a quote for marching band uniforms, and I've heard that the band is very excited about this purchase. A picture of the proposed new uniform is attached for your review. I just did that right before the meeting. The purchase is partially funded by a fine arts donation. I've heard a few members are looking forward to modeling the new uniforms at our next board meeting. 7.11, then and now purchase orders. There are 3 purchase orders requiring further approval. 1 to USI Insurance, 1 a blanket maintenance PO, and 1 to Tri-State for instructional services. And that is everything on finance.
Do I have a motion to approve 7.01 through 7.11?
All motion?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I like to point out every time Julie mentions the school beautification project, if there's anyone out there wondering where that money comes from, it's from the, was it the operating or the construction? Bond
Bond funds.
funds that specifically in that there has to be a fund set up that accrues money from their, or wait, the thing that where the money accrues, that was from the levy.
When the board, or I'm sorry, when taxpayers approved the bond levy, it had specific things that we were allowed to spend it on, and it had to be spent within a certain amount of years. And so that is why we are starting another very small project in the when you're talking about construction, this is a small project, to use up those, a little bit of leftover bond funds, and then we have some permanent improvement money that we've saved up.
The permanent improvement funds that voters voted on, and there's a pool of money that money keeps going into, so we have to use that money. So it's voter-approved money that grows, and now we're going to do something super awesome with it. It didn't just appear out of nowhere. It's all very purposeful.
Well, I think it's important to note also that the permanent improvement money has been growing because we've been under a renovation. So, you know, we've not had to use a lot of PI money because our buildings are being renovated, you know, as we speak. And so now that the project is done, we'll start seeing more improvements that we need to make on our own with using our own money, the PI money. But we have been saving up a little bit, and that will help us finish this beautification project.
Yeah, also keep in mind that through the COVID process, part of the ESSER funds
Yes.
were utilized in the construction process, which then freed up
Frees up.
money from that
That's right.
that could be used here, so.
And the roofs and the boilers will still be used, we'll use ESSER money for those, so.
Correct.
It's kind of a blended project, so to speak.
Well, it's kind of nice to have those extra funds, you know, from those other sources so that we can, usually it's like, well, what's the least important thing? Well, the outside. We don't care about the outside. But really having a safe and fun environment is just as stimulating for our kiddos as everything inside the building. So it's nice that we can fuel that part of their learning process as well as making safer drop-off zones, playgrounds, parking areas for our parents' convenience as well.
I particularly love the one at Williams who said there's a little spot that's a parent welcoming area.
Yes.
I really, really like that because parents need to feel connected to the school.
And after your enthusiasm, we have been talking about that at every elementary, because I didn't even realize it was something that was.
I know at
Oh,
View,
right.
they hang
but
out
we've
out
been
front.
trying to do
Yeah,
that.
The picnic
parents
tables and stuff.
want to be part of the school, and
Yeah.
we've had a couple things that have, you know, we had to do new entrances that were locked, and so parents felt further and further and further away, and they really want to be connected to the school.
It'll be nice. And it's a nice short project. Hopefully by fall we'll be finished.
I would also like to say thank you to the marching band director for putting the effort into creating these new uniforms. They kind of hinted and made a post about them the other day, and I was very excited to finally see the results of that effort. So thank you for creating such a cool uniform for our students to represent Norwood in. And it's awesome that we have playoff funds to transfer to the athletics because they're winning things, and that's just really amazing for them to have extra funding to come in for that department.
And there will be a fashion show in
Yes.
April.
Oh, I thought you meant for the playoffs.
For the
I was like,
playoffs, yeah.
No, fashion show with the band
It's
uniforms.
like, yeah.
No, it's,
Marching band, got it.
that would be a
That'll
cool
be
idea,
cool.
though. Have a team representative from every team to come in their
This
full
is what our
regalia and do a
uniform
fashion
is.
show for us. That would be neat.
Any other discussion on the Finance Committee? All right, Mrs. Camp House?
Mr. Atwood?
Yes.
Ms. Ballard?
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes. All right, item 8 is the hearing of the public. I was not given any forms before the meeting, so I will assume we do not have anybody here that wishes to speak. Moving on to item 9, these are the reports. So we'll start with 9.01, board announcements. Do any board members have any announcements they would like to share?
I found out through trying to find funding for a particular thing that Arts Wave is helping out. It's not widely advertised. I did see one little advertisement, but they're doing a big push to pay for field trips to any arts-related thing in the Hamilton County area, right? So if you've got an idea, send it on to ArtsWave. Because they didn't like mine, because mine went out of town.
But thank you for letting our art teachers know that, because I'm sure they'll utilize it. So thank you.
I was disappointed when I got told, but then I thought, well, but this is good for art teachers. Let me tell them.
Anybody else have anything? Little Indians registration's open.
Little Indians registrations are open until July. Sign your kids up.
Anything else going on?
Next week is spring break.
Oh, and yeah, we are on spring break next week.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
We will have the fourth graders at Sharpsburg will be doing their formal dance showcase on
soon.
April 5th around noon. So if you're available and you want to come check it out, it should be a good time.
Yeah. April 5th.
April
noon.
5th, yep. And the Norwood Business Women was kind enough to make a $100 donation so that we can have some refreshments for the parents that are going to be guests to watch their students show off what they've learned.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Anything else? All right, with that, we will move on to 9.02. This is the superintendent's report, and I will turn it over to Mrs. Roman.
Oh, thank you. My report had started out as a congratulations to Glenna for her recent awards, but unfortunately, now it's turned into a farewell. So I'd like to read, before you go, all the wonderful things you have done for just for the city of Norwood and the Norwood City Schools. So on February 23rd, the city of Norwood honored one of our staff members as one of Norwood's gems. Glenna Edwards received the Legacy Award, which is given to an individual. You may want to come up, Glenna, as I read this, and get your flowers from the board president, who has served the community over decades, significantly improving the quality of life in Norwood. In addition to this award, she's also receiving the 2023 Prevention First Rachel Hertzel Prevention Partner. Oh, can we take a picture
Smile
too,
for the
please?
camera.
For creating lasting prevention impacts in Norwood City Schools. As our supervisor of family and student support, we know very well her dedication to Norwood students and their families. Many young lives have been touched by her care and compassion. We are very lucky to have this gem as our staff member for her remaining few days. Congratulations on your well-deserved award, but we just wanted to say farewell and thank you for everything. And I didn't know
Wait,
if
we should
any
all
other
come over
board
there.
member wanted to say anything.
Glenna deserves everybody.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, let's everyone, get in the picture.
You too. Come on. You too.
Okay, I'll be right here.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And Mary.
You will be great.
Oh, and Joanna.
I will miss you all too. My earliest memories and it's my kids.
Well, she won't be far. I'll be calling her all the time.
Yes, anytime.
Okay, what do we do about this?
Okay,
What do
we need
do
Julie
about that?
too.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
taking their picture real quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, Julie, give it.
Thank you all very much. Thank you. Making us cry.
Here, I want to hug Glenna. Ew. I think Glenna hugs too.
Everybody wants Glenna hugs.
I gotta follow that.
Yeah.
Did that conclude your report, Mrs. Ronan, or did you have?
Yeah, that concludes my
We
report.
should say our nice things about Glenna.
She will, when I opened the agenda the other day, just to kind of double check what was going on, and I saw it, and I was like, oh my gosh. And literally 5 minutes later, she called, and I told her, I said, I'm very sad for us, but I'm very happy for you. Just one of the good people, just a good person, and we're very happy for you. And but we all know how to get in touch with you, so you won't be far. We won't be going anywhere, so you know how to find us too.
I can't imagine how many families you've touched. I can't even. I'm so proud to know you, and I'm honored to see your career grow, and that it started here in such a big way to inspire you for your next steps.
I'm glad that what Glenna is moving on to is basically what she does for us, but for a much wider population, other schools, and teaching them to be like her. So, well,
We can't be
duh, the world
selfish.
needs that. So, so I guess it's okay that you do this.
I think if we voted no, she could still do it anyway.
Right, I know. I said, should I vote no? I voted no for Roger.
I said, can I vote
Said,
yes?
no,
by kicking
this is
and
not a good
screaming,
idea.
in duress.
And we would never want to hold you back personally, so.
Right. I mean, if we voted no, well,
Yeah.
but anyways, she'd be like, well, sorry, I'm going to this other job anyways.
Yeah.
And she gets to join Deb, and Deb is also so wonderful in the position before Glenna.
Right.
How do we find another person who's like Deb and like Glenna and
Well, that's the beauty of the bridge contract, and I appreciate you for being willing to do something like that, because it allows us the opportunity to have you involved in finding someone who can learn the ropes and figure out what this is actually going to take, because I don't think a lot of people know all of the things that you do. So I love that you're going to be a part of that next step for us and helping to choose someone.
I always have a difficult time describing what Glenna does because it's a lot. I was talking to someone today. I said, do you need a new job? Could you be a new Glenna? What does she do? And I'm like, a lot.
Everything?
Some levity on my way here. I turned the radio on, and from the first note on, it was Small Town by John Lennon.
Aww.
The story of my life in a song on the way here.
It was a hint. You're not supposed to leave. We can throw out that resignation now.
Well, she can go do something else, and then
back.
maybe she'll come back to us.
So you will truly be missed, Glenna. So thank you for all the time that we have had you.
And thank you as a board as well, and these wonderful ladies I get to work with every day. This is a very special place, very, and we do amazing work. We always keep the children first and what's best for them, and that's what's so important.
Thank you. All right. Item 9.03, this is the Great Oaks report, and I will turn it over to Ms. Ballard.
I had to do that after, could have done that at the
Do you want me to come
Take
back?
some breaths.
Okay, well,
Now I gotta find mine.
all right, so to follow that, my meeting seems extremely trivial. We had our meeting over at the Diamond Oaks campus this time instead of our normal visit up to Scarlett. We got a tour by one of the campus deans to show us some of the new construction and the expansions to different programs that are coming along nicely at Diamond. Over the years, we do have some students who will go to Diamond instead of Scarlett, so sometimes we have a Norwood student there. I don't think we do currently, though, but we've got some really unique programming like equine that is not offered at Scarlett, so that's a really neat opportunity. We began with our regular diversity and equity committee with another dean, Dan Rush. He gave us some information about DEI programming and focused learning that they're doing for this year and next year. And we also started with a word of the month, and following with the, I guess you can call them like our regular culturally creative words that we would like our students to embody. One of those happens to be equity. So that became our first word of the month for the ongoing reports. And every month after, we'll take a subsequent word and build on that for the entire board. We also discussed attending the BLI conference that's coming up next month, as well as the upcoming tech conference that's in July. Many of us also attended our Southwest Regional Conference last week. Kids from Finneytown's 4th grade, and I will never say this sentence. You want to hear these kids play the recorder. I'm telling you, the 4th graders there, they presented last fall at the conference, and we were like, oh my God, they're good, and we want to hear them. So we invited them to come to the spring, and their instructor came, and these were just the cutest kids, and they're super talented, and they were playing the recorder, and it was the best thing ever, and they got to be our entertainment, as well as the show choir from Princeton. They performed a few highlights, and they also sang and signed one of their songs, which as an interpreter, I thought that was really cool that they incorporated some ASL into it. So we had some really great performances from those students. We also launched the Ronald J. Driver Memorial Scholarship, and that is dedicated to students who plan to attend a Ohio-based college or university in career tech, or who has attended career tech, who has demonstrated potential as an educational, business, or community leader, who would like to go into one of those adjacent fields. So anyone interested in applying for that scholarship can go to the OSBA website and include that in their scholarship list for this year, if that's something that you're interested in applying for. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Ballard. 9.04, this is the Norwood Community Television Board, which is mine, and I do not have a report this month, so we will move back to Ms. Ballard for 9.05, the OSBA Legislative Liaison.
Actually, most of my stuff was already discussed under House Bill 1. That's really the biggie right now. At that one and Senate Bill 1, let me see, I had a note on it. Let me see here. Senate Bill 1 passed, and it would be switching elected positions over to the governor's office. It is headed to the House soon for discussion. So we were discussing it at the Southwest Region meeting to please reach out to your state House representative about this. It's not something that we want. We do not want this to fall under the governor's budget. And yeah, it would take away a lot of the state's abilities to grant anything to public schools. I think a lot of it will gear towards private schools, and funding will be reallocated even worse than it already is with House Bill. So I would reach out to your state rep.
Yeah, talk about cronyism. Getting rid of elected positions, like we are all elected. We are not picked by somebody. We are not somebody's friend that got picked. Right. We were elected, and this bill wants to get rid of
the state elected board
positions, and just let the governor pick whoever their buddies are, whoever they want.
And I know the governor's office is really tech heavy, which is great for Great Oaks and other technical schools in Ohio, because we're one of the top 10 in the nation for economic growth, and we're extremely job heavy. We've got the new Honda plant, the new Intel plant, both being built here in Ohio. So for them to focus on jobs and development in that way for technology, wonderful. But they're not big proponents for public education. And it's like I feel like you can't have one without the other, because these kids that go into career tech come from somewhere. And most of them come from public schools. So if you want to feed career tech and jobs in the future, you have to support public schools, because that's where it all starts.
You can't have democracy without public schools. Public schools are supported by the public.
There's my soapbox. That's
Yep.
All right. 9.06, this is Avenues for Success, and I'll turn it over to Mrs. Rarica.
Thank you, Madam President. We have a report from Laura Ferguson. We are currently working with our partners to plan a robust summer blast camp. The camp they have every summer for kids is very, very popular. For K through 5, we are excited to add LEAD training as a partner to bring engaging SEL to our camp. They are partnering with the Girl Scouts of Western Ohio to bring a fun series for our girls entitled Super Healthy Girls. This series will run for 6 weeks for our K through 5 enrolled students. I know the Girl Scouts does these 6-week programs every spring, and that's really cool that we're going to get one. And the third point, after spring break, we are kicking off a new program called Weekend Warriors under the direction of Jennifer Freeman. Families are invited to participate in virtual field trips all across the country. A Google Classroom has been set up with the Flipgrid for families to share their adventures. Prizes and activities are all included. That sounds fun. That's all.
Thank you, Mrs. Rarica. Item 10, this is future meeting notifications. So our next committee meeting will be Tuesday, April 11th at 6 p.m. at the Board of Education office. And then the regular board meeting will be Thursday, April 20th, 6 p.m. here in the high school mini. So do I have a motion to approve the future meetings listed?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Mrs. Camp House?
Mr. Atwood?
Yes.
Miss Ballard?
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes. All right, with that, we are on to number 11, which is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The time is 7:04. Thank you, we are adjourned.